Hello, everybody. What is up? I am Lady Stars on Fire. This is Breaking the Cage. Now, I'm going to kind of change it a little bit from how I usually do it because I'm preparing myself because next week I'm going to start going live on the Matrix Minds when I put the video out for Breaking the Cage. Again, for anybody who's not used to seeing these videos or whatever, the Matrix Minds Media is going to be picking up these videos, this little broadcast, and going to be putting it on their line. So Matt is going to be calling it Astrology TV. But this show will be showing up on Astrology TV every Sunday night. I am not 100% positive yet. You'll have to check back. I believe I'm going to start doing it at 9, but I may start doing it at 10 p.m. when I do the Breaking the Cage video each week. Like I said, I'll be doing it live, coming directly to you from the Matrix Mind Media. Now, with that being said, this is Breaking the Cage. And this is it's small because I'm going to be coming back on the 10th to do the following week. So this is from the 5th through the 10th. But before I get into the astrology, I'm going to kind of reshape the way that I'm doing Breaking the Cage so I can make it last a little bit longer. And with that being said, I'm, giving you some of these announcements first and allowing some people to come into the chat, into the room, so I can get used to it being live in that form. I want to also tell everybody that if you are interested in getting your own personal astrological readings or anything along that line, plus I do make orgone. I make a lot of products as far as that goes, is essential oils, special kits, baths, mists. All of that stuff can be found on my Etsy shop, and it is right there below. It is LSF Sanctuary LLC, where, like I said, it's all directed to the metaphysical and spiritual well-being of each and every person and their spiritual journey in general. Now, with that being said, you can go there and find all of that stuff. Second, I want to go about, for those who have been following me for a while, you know that I usually do a zodiac reading for every sign for the month. I call them the home light security readings. I will start trying to get in and start getting on that tomorrow. However, I definitely won't fully get full blown at knocking that out until the 13th, and I will try to get them out as quickly as possible. But I will try to get one or two out here and there before the 13th so I can get them out as quickly as possible for you. It'll be Home Light Security, and you can always find that on my Facebook page, but you'll be able to also find that on my YouTube page. And that'll be for each and every zodiac sign, going through what is going on with your area's sun, moon, rising for the month that we are in, giving you a little bit of an idea at the energy, specifically a little more targeted towards you. Because when we look at things from an astrological point of view, you have to realize there's cycles within cycles, there are charts within charts, and everybody has their own individual, but the baselines still last and still are able to work. Now, with that being said, this week in spirit, before I really get into what I'm being directed when I see the astrology, and I think it's funny because there's no better way of putting it. I named this one when I started the video Starfleet. And the reason why is, for now on, that is how I'm going to address each and every one of you, as Starfleet. As I was doing the astrology and I'm starting to pull up that information and write down my notes for what I was going to say in this video, there was an aspect that kept showing up that's not a normal aspect in astrology. And I've said a million times, for those who follow me or who check in with what I say for the astrology, and if it matches for you in any way, that I don't always follow what normal astrologers would say. Sometimes spirit will move my stuff around. Sometimes they will give me different things. And every time I was trying to write something down and look at it from a different, point of view, or change the time so that I was getting the right information on what I wanted to give you in today's video, this aspect kept becoming an aspect. And it's funny because it's the symbol for Star Trek. It's it literally is. It's the symbol for Star Trek. You know, when like on the show they go like this and then they're like beam me up. That is actually considered the Starfleet symbol. And I thought that it was beautiful the way Spirit was giving me it, because all of you are in a form, are Starfleet. You are coming into your spirituality. You're coming into your light. You're coming into the essence of who and what you are. And from this moment on, I am going to speak of you as Starfleet, because that's what you're doing. You're coming back into your star self, your soul self, your authentic self. And it just kept showing itself in the astrology this week. But it goes with the messages that Spirit's been giving me. See, I have been saying in our astrology, as soon as I started saying this like before 2020, that when the energy of the North Node and that South Node hit where they are now, that we were going to start seeing a major amount of change. Not that you didn't see enough over the last 2 years, but you're going to definitely start seeing it now. And the fact that Spirit's giving me, when I see the astrology and they're giving me the Starfleet symbol, is perfect. They're asking you, for one, are you going to beam aboard or not? Are you going to get aboard? Are you going to, activate? Are you going to come on and get into the light and into the true essence of who you are or not? Because we're at that threshold of, are you going to go for it or not? And it's so written in the astrology this week. But what Spirit was also giving me is, with these energies of what we're seeing, are you the possession of you? Really? Are you the possession of you? Because the way that they're explaining it is they're like, maybe people aren't getting it the way that it's been said before. So let's try it this way. And are you possessing your own inner light, your own inner chaos, your own inner truth? Are you possessing your authenticity, your soulfulness, the you that is hidden in there underneath all of that clutter that has made us to where we're at a level where we have to start breaking the cage? See, it's funny because so many of us are learning to come into our journey. So many of us are learning to grow and come onto this path. But so many of us have so much healing that we still have to do that we don't even know. We don't even understand. And we're learning it bits and pieces, because what it is unfortunately, as far as society has made it for us, the way that we were raised, we have so much that we have to shed. And coming into true self-love, dignity, respect, and value, well, that's kind of foreign to us. So when we start stepping into it, we're really starting to come into our authenticity, our integrity, our power, our self-love and value. It almost just feels not even wrong, but just odd. And this is part of what I'm talking about. Are you the one in possession of you? And the reason I put it this way is because Spirit is saying, my God, can you stop holding on to the heavy? Just stop. It's like you don't realize your unconscious, your inner blindness has gotten so used to it, so adapted to it, so comfortable with it, that we just keep grasping it and holding on to it. And this is what I'm saying. And Egyptian mythology, I can't go deep into all of that because I don't remember, but what's important is, they weigh your heart against a feather. I mean, it's a feather. It's very light. And if your heart is heavier than the feather, then you don't get into Egyptian heaven. The point isn't that you can't get in. The point is, don't be attached to anything. Don't hold on to the heavy. See, in shamanism, this is also a part of what we call the hollow bone. It doesn't mean for you to become hollow. It doesn't mean for you to become cold. It doesn't mean for you to not care. It means understand the energy for what it is. Accept it for what it is. But don't try to harness it. You have to let it flow. You have to let it run its cycle. You have to let it undo. You have to allow the truth of the energy to show itself, whether it's good or bad, and continue to flow. So don't hold on to the heavy, because what Spirit's trying to get through is when you're holding on to the heavy, you're holding on to everything that is no more. It's time to let the dead be to the dead. If it doesn't serve you anymore, it's dead. And if you're holding on to it, then it ultimately is what's possessing you, not you, the pain. And as we move into this week and the rest of this month, that has a big thing to do with where we're taking this energy. Spirit also reminds me to tell you, I'm sure you've heard it before, the song Fleetwood Mac, Break the Chain. In the song, it's speaking about if you hold on to the shadows, you'll remain in that chain again and again and again. This is about acknowledging what has happened. This is about acknowledging, what no longer serves us and helping us to move forward. But in order to break the chain, you must let it go. You can't stay with the dead. That's part of transformation. So a big piece is, are you holding on to the heavy? And it's hard for us to let go. Feel it, honor it, and then surrender it, because it's not yours to hold on to. That's why it's meant growing. It's meant to be for growing. Now, as I get into the different parts of astrology that I'm going to get into for this episode, one of the things that there's a couple things here that most of your astrologers are not going to tell you anything about, because they don't actually deal with those planets or dwarf planets or comets, or so to speak. They just kind of avoid them when they're doing astrology, which I find is funny because it has so much depth to it. Eris is in Aries right now. She's coming closer to the end of Aries, but she's not quite out of Aries. But she's one of the ones that nobody really talks too much about. She's considered the goddess of strife. She's the goddess of resentment, trouble, toil, and strife. Excuse me. And it's important, as we address the astrology for this week, that we come to realize, as we move through this week and into this weekend, Mercury is coming right on top of Eris. So this is communication. Not to mention, Aries also has Chiron here, the wounded healer, the sun, and Pallas, Athena, the warrior goddess, all about strategically changing, correcting, healing, and bringing a new cycle into our view of life, our personality, and our character. But right here at the butt end of Aries, you have Mercury that's about to come right on top and start speaking with Eris. I've been known to call Eris Medusa. That's my own personal viewing of Eris. And I call her Medusa because I so hate the fact of the story of Medusa. I hate that. I like she's just a person who happened, another person that the gods got pissed off at because they got offended. And she got the bad rap. She got the one that got stuck with, the snake head. She got stuck with, you know, being left alone because of her beauty offended another goddess. I'm sorry. But in my viewing of Medusa, I see her as the trouble, toil, and strife. I see her as not being able to heal, kind of like Chiron. I see her as holding on to what I call vampire syndrome, when you just rather sit there and suck the blood, every single little last bit of it, out of a situation because I'm not done being mad at it. I'm not done being angry. I'm not done. I didn't get, I didn't get to get you back. And I see Medusa as being stuck in that. I love that commercial that they have out. I don't even know what the commercial's for, but it's Medusa and she has on a pair of sunglasses so she could go to the bar without freezing everybody. This is part of what I'm talking about. The trouble, toil, and strife that's still inside of us, where we're holding on to that vampire syndrome. We're holding on to that resentment. We're holding on to that, let me pick at you and say it's your fault. And this is why I'm the way I am. No, we're the way we are because of the way we choose to be, what we choose to heal and what we don't. Just like in the commercial, but she's got some sunglasses on and she's like, I can go out. I'm not going to hurt anybody. If I really want to, I'll pull the sunglasses up and freeze them. But Mercury is coming on top of Eris. Mercury does not care if communication is positive or negative. It's going to give it a little bit of that shadow Mercury retrograde feel because you are talking about it, speaking directly to the goddess of trouble, toil, and strife. And what is keeping her from spiritually evolving within you, spiritually growing and maturing, and putting on a pair of sunglasses and being able to be a new person. I shine so bright, even I have to wear glasses. She is going to be hitting you beneath the belt as into the character of who and what you are. Plus, the sun this week, when I get into astrology, oh my, hold on. The moon this week is going to be traveling over Gemini into Cancer and into Leo. So we're curious to understand. We want to learn, but then we kind of going to get into our nesting and our feels because Cancer energy is, is in a form is the home and the hearth. We're going to get in our feels. We're going to get in our emotions. Cancer is also one of the biggest levels of empath energy. We get lost in ourselves. And then it's going to come into Leo, where a Leo is very dramatic. Dramatic, loud, we roar. Hello, I'm loud. I'm a Leo. So you're going to be emotionally walking through this. Just in the moon energy, before we get into any of the aspects, any of the conversations of the planets. And then another thing that most astrologers aren't going to be bringing up, and I'm bringing these up because I want you to understand how powerfully wonderful this can be, but you can't be holding on to the heavy. You have to release it and surrender it. Because technically it will be possessing you into going into a whole new cycle of the same thing. We want to grow. We're Starfleet, remember? We want to grow, mature, and spiritually evolve. And that means we have to really get into what makes us tick. How Maya is another dwarf planet, I believe, that most. I'm sorry, I dropped something I do need to pick up. It is a dwarf planet that most astrologers, so to speak, are not going to speak of. And let me help you understand from a higher spiritual point of view how Maya, its energy, is actually speaking to you of the collective consciousness and the ability to create because of your level of collective consciousness. Well, it is in Libra. Why do you think relationships are off the chain? It is in Libra. It's at the cusp. It's going to be sitting at the cusp throughout most of this month before it actually enters Scorpio. It is trying to give you on a relationship level of who are allies, who are not, who is real, who is fake, who is good and healthy for you, who is not. What are the members, the committees, the community, your friends? What relationships are you making? And are they thriving or are they dying? Or are they manipulative? How Maya is the collective consciousness in Libra trying to show you just how valued you are in the relationships you have before she steps into Scorpio, where that South Node is, and starts really going, well, if we learned some of these lessons before we get into Scorpio, the rules, the walls, the boundaries won't be as hard to shift. So at this point, you're at the very end of how Maya being in Libra, which is kind of like the kick to the gut, going, I've been trying to tell you this. Are you going to get the memo? Are you going to open up your eyes and see if you're valued or not? And see if these are the real people who are good for you and honestly conscious to where you're taking your life and what you want from it. Like I said, it's trying to give you all of the, yo, here's the memo, last chance, before it gets into some throwdown energy of reproduction. And where will it take you from there? Most astrologers are not going to talk about that. Like I said, she's preparing you for the creation. Not to mention that we just had the new moon. We're coming towards the full moon, which is going to take place in Libra. So yes, relationships are going through scrutiny of going, are they really good? Are they thriving? Are they worth resurrecting? Are they regenerating in healthy ways? I'm trying to give you the hints of what's coming with these energies. They're trying to put you on the right path with the right tribes by showing you where either things are in question and need to be brought to the surface or where the tribes need to shift. Now, before I fully get into the rest of astrology and I start breaking it down as to why I'm telling you what I'm telling you, I'm going to start adding to this when I do the Breaking the Cage videos. I'm going to start adding a little bit of astrological anatomy as well, because the way the planets move and what is going on has a lot to do with the way we feel. And a lot of times we don't realize that the empath in you, the spiritual being in you, is actually connecting with, the as above, so below energy more than you realize. And this is part of what I do. I recently rewrote Astrological Anatomy, and I sent it in for what I call the Starlight Code blueprints. And each person's blueprint is different. However, the outline of the blueprint is still the same, just like astrology is for everyone. And So I'm wanting you all to realize it's not just the energies that you've been feeling from those geomagnetic storms or from the Schumann resonance or from the solar flares. Yes, that energy is definitely there, but it's part of the blueprint as well, especially the way that it's written right now, because your blueprint shifts and is communicating with the energy of the planetary movement. Now, you have so much energy going on that's coming out of Aries and Taurus that's kind of just like, and Aries and Taurus represent especially your first and second house in astrology. But this is directly in your head, your throat, and your neck. But it goes a little bit more than that. It goes like first house, second house, and third house. Technically, it's also picking up the zeal point, which I have spoken of many times. So we're looking at the Aries energy communicating with the inside of your body and your vibrational frequency, trying to clear out energies. And where it's having uncomfortable energies, negative energies, blockages, and stagnant energies, you're going to feel it coming through that Aries and Taurus energy in your head, your forehead, your ears, your throat, your brain frequencies, especially right here in the back of the neck, which is the zeal point. The zeal point is what kept you protected from the negativity when you were still asleep. But now that it's awake, this is where those negative headaches come from. It is ear, nose, and throat. It's speaking to you about communication. What communication are you hearing? Is it making your ears hurt because you're hearing more negative things? Are your eyes feeling more swollen and sore because the world around you is hurting? We're talking about these energies. Like I said, they're having a lot of going on and how they're communicating outwardly. So you need to be working on your zeal point. You need to be working on honest communication, ear, nose, throat, seeing. This is all parts of energies that you may want to do Reiki work on. Healing frequency, music, tuning forks. They may be acting up a little extra over the next month because of the way that this energy is. So it may be definitely tapping into letting you know when you're tapping into the negative more than you realize because you're letting it sink in through that zeal point. I'm just giving you what I see in the blueprint. Then you also have on the exact opposite end of the body, we have so much energy going on in Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. This is the knees. This is the okay. Sorry, I'm being told to correct something, but I'm gonna stay where I'm at and then I'll go back and correct it. This is the knees, this is the calves, this is the ankles, this is the feet. You may be feeling energies coming through here. You may be having issues. Your ankle, you may twist your ankle easily. It's usually telling you that you're doing something wrong. You're doing something too fast or trying to, hold on to an ego energy and maybe your leg might start spasming. You know what I'm trying to say. And this has to do with the chakras of the lower body, which nobody in the mainstream speaks about. Like I said, that's part of what I do when I do people's blueprints. I help you to understand what these energies are doing to you in healthy ways as well as negative ways so that you can help upgrade your own self. These lower chakras from our thighs down have a lot to do with inadequacy, inferiority, jealousy, greed, fear. It is consciencelessness. Conscience, where you don't feel bad about the things that you do You have no conscience in these areas because it's easier to tap into the ego and your own inner blindness of denial, where your inferiority will take you into full on resentment, where our anger resides. When we are not healing these lower chakras, your upper chakras will not be clean. They cannot thrive when they are still ill waters. And we have so much energy that is over here also going, that is dealing with those inferiority problems, with jealousy problems, with inadequacy problems, greed, fear. So when we're not healing them, we're feeling them, especially right now in the knees, the calves, the feet. And that's a telltale sign that there's something that you're in denial about. There's something that your inner blindness is allowing you to stay in denial about. And it's ego's fear, not yours, that you need to address so that you can come right full circle with yourself. Then you have the South Node. Its energy is in the 8th house, which is speaking a little bit to everybody. On the top part, your head and Taurus energy, like I was saying, and those knees, calves, and ankles. But Scorpio energy is the reproductive system, the reproductive organs. It literally is known for sex and shit and fertility. So this is asking you, just what was I saying? Do you possess your own self, or is the heavy possessing you? This has a lot to do with what is going on in the human blueprint right now. Before we get into your own personal identification of your own personal blueprint, I'm just giving you some universal information. Now, as we get into this week itself, up until the 10th, when I come back, you have 2 yods. This is incredibly glorious energies. Okay? Yods in stand for the ability to create. It's the smallest of the alphabetical letters in Hebrew, but it is the most mightiest. It is the godding, so to speak. And this is sun and palace energy, speaking with a Lilith energy, speaking with that south node, which is saying, where is your fire? Where is the communication? Where is the communication that's possessing the higher authority, the higher soul self, the higher manifestation of your inner Starfleet? Okay? So we are talking about the communication coming into full circle in this yacht. But that means you have to address where you are not healing, where you are not growing, where you are not maturing. The sun in Palace is telling you, it's illuminating everything that's good and everything that's bad. Everything about your character, about the point of view of how you see and view your life around you, about everything you want to be of your life. What are you seeing with your actual eyes? How are you viewing it? How are you viewing yourself? And how is the world viewing you? Are you communicating in a healthy way that's bringing regeneration to a healthy news cycle, something new, a new you, or is it bringing regeneration to the same old you? You also have, I do see that it's frozen. I don't know why, but since it's live, I'm just going to keep going. So I apologize. The South Node, I'm sorry, you have another yod. These 2 yods are pretty much here all month. So it's positive. It's there to strengthen your self communication, your soul fire. If you're willing to truly see what has to happen for regeneration, rebirth, where you want to see your destiny go. The second yod is the south node again, speaking again to Lilith, but this time it's speaking to Pluto. Pluto is the regeneration itself. It's saying, I'm not making it easy for you anymore. If you know that it's something that you need to do, then you need to do it. It's making you acknowledge the outer world. It's making you acknowledge if you have authority in that outer world, or if the outer world is manipulating you and taking it from you. Is it taking all of your time and draining you of your blood, of your relationships, because you're so busy in service to things that even don't help you, don't help you communicate soulfully to yourself? Or are you going to start realizing I have to communicate soulfully to myself first, and then everything else comes next? These yods are sitting here giving you the ability to rebirth, but it's up to you to walk through the door. Now, you also have the south node itself is speaking to Eris, trouble, toil, and strife, Medusa, and Mercury. So, with incredibly unpredictable energy. And what I mean by this is it's a neutral energy. It can go either way. So what are you feeding it? Are you feeding your Medusa to be able to put on some sunglasses and go, you know what, I'm not going to have this anymore. I might be stuck with these snakes on my head, but I'm going to put these sunglasses on and I can still go out and do anything. I can have friends. I can be anybody I want to be. Or are you going to be, oh, woe is me, and it's all terrible, and the communication is going to start coming out with a backlash of vomit? The south node is everything you're good at, but it's not good for you. So what are you holding on to in your relationships that aren't good for you anymore? Where is it you're in your comfort zone, but you're not actually thriving? You're just existing. The south node is also trining Neptune and Jupiter. This means the opportunity is there to make changes, to heal, to start a new cycle, to meet new people. But are you meeting the same people that you've always met? Or are you actually, like I said, putting the sunglasses on and going, I'm a new me. And I like who I'm becoming. So take it or leave it. This is who I'm becoming. And then know you'll attract the right ones. That south node is also not getting along with Mars, Saturn, or Juno. Juno is sacrificing commitment. Saturn is rules, laws, and boundaries. And Mars is your inner warrior in the outer house of your commitment to the outer world. Meaning, it's your groups, your memberships, your committees that you're part of. Are they in service to you as much as you are in service to them? Or are the outer authority manipulating you to be in service of what they want from you? Because see, that 11th house of Aquarius is supposed to also be feeding your dreams, your goals, your ambitions. And if you're with the right soul tribe, if you have the right Starfleet, then you are starting to come into the proper committees, the proper memberships, groups, outer world friends, work friends that are going to help you achieve those goals, dreams, and ambitions. But see, it's not getting along with the south node, which means instead of standing up for yourself, you just might go, okay, because I don't want to fight. Well, if you don't stand up for yourself, nobody else will. That south node is sextiling Pluto, which is all about changing, all about letting the dead be to the dead so that you can go and become the new and best you and setting the authority for you. It's here. It's written all over this astrology to help you move forward in the best ways. Pluto is not getting along, though, with Eris and Medusa. I mean, Medusa, Eris, and Mercury. Meaning, this means you have to honor yourself. This means you have got to give yourself the love you deserve. You have to acknowledge where your character does need to shift or is in denial, and what you have to do to make the outer world work for you. Pluto is getting along great with the North Node. The answer is there. Just will you take it? The North Node is in Gemini, being curious enough to step out of your comfort zone and do something new, to try it. It's also speaking with Lilith. Again, where's your soul fire? Do you possess you? Or are you holding on to the heavy and actually giving the possession of you away? Jupiter and Neptune square Lilith, meaning if you're afraid of your own power, if you're afraid of your own fire, if you're afraid of your own spiritual authority and trial of figuring out who and what you are, communicating the truth to you, well, then you're leaving Neptune and Jupiter no choice but to continue to lie to you in the areas that they have already. This is, like I said, we're dealing with seeing our inner blindness and bringing it into consciousness. But it's here. Everything is here. Jupiter and Neptune is getting along great with that North Node. Your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom. If you give yourself the approval to believe in you, if you give yourself the approval in your self-esteem, your self-value, your worthiness, then Neptune and Jupiter will play it back for you. But if you're afraid of it, they can't give it to you. You have sextiles all over this astrology. And when you have sextiles, that means the opportunities are there, but we're just comfortable enough to miss them. Don't miss them. You also have the Sun and Juno. Let me just tell you, the Sun and Juno this week, not just Medusa, which is Eris, and Mercury are in Aries, that first house of your character, your soulfulness, how you view things. But the Sun and Pallas, the Athena, the warrior goddess, they are sitting on so much either negative, I can't find my way to where I want to go, I'm full in prolonged confusion and I'm stuck, or they have opportunities. It's one of the two. It's completely up the butt. You have opportunities all over the place coming from the Sun. It is illuminating everything that you have the opportunity to shift, change, and make happen. But it also is illuminating, well, are you comfortable? And will you avoid it all? So literally, the Sun this week is either shining on you or shitting on you. And it's up to you to choose which one you're trying to collect from the Sun. Honestly. Mars, Saturn, and Juno. The only thing that those three are like in this week is Lilith. They want you to have the balls. They want you to have the courage. They want you to come back into the flame and put the chain down. Become the possession of you. But they aren't getting along with the South Node, the North Node, or Chiron, which means we're not giving you any bit of help. This is all on you. Do you have the ability to beam yourself up. Are you ready to get on the ship and be part of Starfleet or not? Because the only way that you're going to rise is if you choose to rise. Nothing's going to stop you from rising other than you, and nothing is going to support you from rising other than you. So it's fully up to you. This is asking you, are you in possession of you? I love you guys, and I will be back next week with the new Breaking the Cage with Astrology TV on the Matrix Mind Media, probably around 9 o'clock at night. I may shift it out to 10 o'clock at night. I love you guys. Bye bye.